Oh, it was almost too hard to watch, honestly. Right there, big lead, then the injury, and then it was painful because it almost seemed like it was going to be inevitable. I didn't think that at the half, but you could just tell as time kept going on, the game kept slipping away. We'll talk about that a little bit more. The Tigers got another piece. They got a giant 2 days ago. They got a mighty mite yesterday. We'll talk about that, and we'll visit with Jason Munz to end our show. Of course, Andy Schiffman will be in the middle. Oh, and in a few minutes, someone will be $98.50 richer because, you know, once a day, somebody's going to win $98.50 as long as the Grizzlies are still in the playoffs. So, Joe goes down, Elijah Seegers. It's still a 26-point lead at the half. What did you think was going to happen?
Dave, I will be honest with you. I knew that OKC would cut into the lead, but I did not think that a 26-point lead would be toppled. I did not think that OKC would have the offensive wherewithal to bring themselves all the way back. I did not think, even if they locked in on the defensive end like they did, they could make that kind of a comeback. I just thought 26 was too big. The Grizzlies' offense is rolling in this game. 77 first-half points is incredible. The most OKC has given up all season. So even without Ja, I was like, okay, they've got this big lead. There's no way they can, let OKC come all the way back. And they get outscored by 18 points in the third quarter, and then after that, it's like, oh yeah, this is happening.
Well,
this is actually.
They
happening.
only scored 13 in the fourth. I mean, you're two things that I immediately think about off your comments. One, do you believe in history? If you believe in history, 29 points. It's the second biggest comeback in NBA playoff history. 29 points. That's a lot of points. And my goodness, I just sat there and I also did not think it could be given away, but it was exactly that, a give away, because you stopped scoring. You had, as you just said, 77 points in the first half. You realize they scored 80 in the whole first game. But then 31 points in the second half. Fourth quarter, only 13. A lot of that was turnovers. With Ja on the floor, the Grizzlies were plus 11. With Ja off the floor, minus 32. So many points scored off turnovers. There were 16 turnovers. I don't think they had more than 3 in the first half.
They had 3 turnovers.
So there's 13 in the second half. So Ja, by the way, 15 points, 5 assists in 15 minutes, 0 turnovers. He's out of the game. 16 turnovers, right? 13 in the second half. Here's the kicker. Where do those turnovers come from? They come from your primary ball handlers. Both Desmond Bane, and Scottie Pippen Jr. each had 10 turnovers from the 2 primary ball handlers. I think Greg was wondering why Santi Aldama was the point forward at the end of the game. It's because the 2 primary ball handlers couldn't hold on to the ball. And another point that was made beautifully by Brevin Knight was in the second half, I know they're trying to milk time because time is on OKC's side, so you're trying to use the clock. They didn't even start to try to get into a half-court offense until there was 12 seconds left on the shot clock. You wasted a whole half of a clock just for kicks and then never got a good shot. Whereas in the first half, you're moving the ball around like crazy. People are getting good looks. You're shooting good percentages. You're hitting three-point shots. Even Zach Edey hit a three, for goodness sake. Everything is going your way. Once the Ja thing happened, they just tried to hold on instead of win the game. Craziness. And I hate to say this, but poor Lou Dort is almost as big a victim as Ja Morant. So on the play where Ja goes down, there's a great steal. Here comes Scottie Pippen. Lou Dort is making a hustle play. He's trying to catch him from behind. The trailer, wisely, is Ja Morant. Now, if there isn't a wet spot on the floor, this doesn't happen. But as Pippen senses that Dort is tracking him down, he decides, good play, throw the ball over your shoulder, and it's going to be an easy dunk for Ja. When I'm watching the play, I'm going, that's going to be a huge dunk. Can't wait to see the Sports Center moment. But instead, here's Dort trying to put on the brakes and his feet coming out from under him, which means he's lost control of his body, his momentum, and that, unfortunately, is what Ja is jumping into, and it is absolutely a nasty fall. Now, I hate to say this because this is nobody's fault, but Ja is not that tough a guy. It's this is real pain and real injury. This is not somebody being soft. But in the game, I think it was the first game in Oak City, SGA takes a similar fall underneath the bucket. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And he falls right on his chest and part of his hip. He bounces right back up. I'm like amazed because he's a durable, big, just a bigger frame dude. And he doesn't quite jump as high as Ja. Ja takes off, and he's not that big, and his frame is more slight, and unfortunately, he's more fragile. He goes down, it's real pain. So a wet spot causes this. Eli made a good point. I don't know if he said it on the air, but he mentioned it to me. And this is all 2020 revisionist, but had Pippen thought about just lobbing it off the board, then you're not going to see the correction by Dort to try to stop. So his feet don't go from underneath, and Josh just going to soar and dunk the ball. Now, that's easy to say in retrospect. And honestly, when I'm watching the play, I'm salivating thinking, oh, my goodness, this is going to be an unreal play. And the rest is history. I have no idea if Ja will play. I got to say this. I mentioned all those dang turnovers by Pippen and by Bane. I think every one of those was forced by Alex Caruso. This is a guy OKC got from Chicago. I can't wait to talk to Andy Schiffman about that. I don't know how many turnovers he forced last night, but I thought it was every one of them. I mean, he was incredible, and he gets very physical, and in the playoffs, they're just allowing that to happen. But my goodness, your quick guess, I don't know how we'd even figure this out, but how many of those 16 turnovers do you think Caruso forced?
I got to think at least half of them.
I do, too. He was unbelievable. Then Holmgren hit all those threes. He had 5 threes, all in the second half, 23 of his 24 points. SGA, when you needed a bucket, he got it. Game 4 tomorrow at 2:30. So I hope for a gentleman's sweep that they get one here. They should have had last night. It's going to be tough, and we don't know if Ja will play. We have not had any word on Ja Morant yet, have we?
We have not, other than he was spotted on crutches.
All right. You know we're doing a thing where we're giving away $98.50 once a day to a caller that can, on the Sissy Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255, 901-360-8255, if they can answer this question. And I want to say that the 98.50 giveaway is brought to you by Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South, and by Club Car Wash. You can get 25% off any membership for 12 months right now at Club Car Wash. So, one of my pet peeves is in today's game where GMs use analytics and I think sort of direct coaches on usage, load management has been a pet peeve of mine. So I just randomly picked. I said, I'm going to go back 15 or 16 years. And I just randomly picked the year 2008 and 9. So basically 16 years ago. 4 Grizzlies, 4 played every single game. They all played 82 games. Mark Ivaroni was the coach. Chris Wallace was the GM. So that was the management team at that point. 4 guys played 82 games. Name for me 3 of the 4, and 3 of the 4 were pretty big names. And they played all 82 games. 901-360-8255. You tell me 3 of the 4 that played all 82 games for the Grizzlies, 2008 and 9, and I will make you $98.50 richer. I'm going to start with Dan, because I don't think Dan had the opportunity to Google this like all these other guys are. So, Dan, I want to give you $98.50. Who were 3 of the 4? And I should say a 5th guy played 79 games that year. Who are they, Dan?
Mike Conley.
That's
Marc Gasol.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony Allen.
No. Close. No cigar on that one. Sorry, I really wanted to give it to you. Eileen probably did have time to Google this. We'll see. Eileen, give me 3 of the 4 that played 82 games for the Grizzlies, 2008 and 9.
Well, I didn't have time to Google, but I'm going to take a stab at it. I'll say Mike Conley, Marc Gasol, and Zach Randolph.
No.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. And that was without a Google. So I appreciate that effort. Let me go on the Sissy Log Cabin line at 901-360-8255. I'm going to go to David. David, who are
How's it going?
Give me 3 of the 4 that played 82 games in 08-09.
Allen, Conley, and Randolph.
No. Nope. Thank you. Thank you for playing. We appreciate that. Let me go to Bobby on that Sissy Log Cabin line at 360-8255. Give me 3 of the 4 that played 82 games 08-09 for Mark Ivaroni. You know, Bobby?
I'll take a stab at it. Is it Mike Conley, Marc Gasol, and O.J. Mayo?
That would be a winner. You're $98.50 richer. Let me just say this. Hakeem Warwick. So the 3 biggest names were O.J. Mayo, Gasol, and Conley. Hakeem Warwick also played 82 games, and Rudy Gay played 79 games. Different era. Now, I'll be honest with you, Bobby. I don't know how well it worked because that team ended up 24-58 and in 5th in the Southwestern Conference at the time. So I'm not going to say it was brilliant, but at least the stars in those days, those are the 5 best players on the team, really. O.J. Mayo, Marc Gasol, Mike Conley, Rudy Gay for sure, and Hakeem Warwick. 4 of them played 82, 1 of them played 79. How did you know that, Bobby?
Well, I just took a stab at a couple of them, but O.J. Mayo, I just winged that one, to be honest.
Well, that was a good wing job. You are $98.50 richer. There will be a check ready for you, and, of course, Elijah Seeger's going to take all your information. There will be a check ready for you a week from today. And we appreciate you playing. We appreciate all of you who played. And so, Bobby, I'm going to put you on hold. Elijah Seeger's going to get all the info. So glad that you could become $98.50 richer. And if the Grizzlies were to win tomorrow, we will do this again sometime, who knows when, only Eli knows, sometime on Monday. And the Grizzlies playoff payoff, again, is brought to you by Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South, and by Club Car Wash. You get 25% off any membership for 12 months right now at clubcarwash.com. And congratulations to Bobby. So I mentioned 2 days ago the Tigers got a big man, Aaron Bradshaw, who was a McDonald's All-American, a five-star center, 7'1", with long reach, who started off his career at Kentucky, and he went to Ohio State, and now he is a Tiger. Well, yesterday they got a little guy, a mighty mite, 5'11", Doug McDaniel, who is from Washington, D.C., which is ironic now because your two point guards, Dante Harris, who's going to be a point guard too, and I don't know who's going to get the job. They're going to have to beat each other out. But Harris, who got hurt at the end of last year, he's also from Washington, D.C. But McDaniel, 5'11", little guy, started his career at Michigan and actually was a good scorer and a good shooter at Michigan. Decided he would go to K-State. He ended up there and had 11.5 points and 5 assists. Did not shoot well last year. There were various reasons for saying that. We're going to talk with Munzie about all of this coming up. But now it looks like you are deep at point guard because you got two of them. Harris is a really good backup point guard if he's the backup. And McDaniel, I think a lot of people are really high on that commitment. And then you still have got some room here. So you got Julius Stafford, kid from Cordova that a lot of people think might be the sleeper of the transfer portal. You got Zachary Davis, who is a forward, who's a defensive-minded guy from South Carolina. Sincere Parker, who played at St. Louis and then was at McNeese. And there's a lot of people think he is a really good player. He scored, I think, 16 a game at St. Louis. Then you got Quante Berry, who came from Temple. You got Ashton Hardaway, who we know could be he's your wing player who can shoot. Now defense on that, he says he's gotten quicker and stronger. He'll need to be a better defensive player. And you're still waiting on Haggerty. You're still waiting on Danger. If those two guys sign, don't forget they got these kids, one from Overtime Elite, Daniel Vieira Tuck, who's very athletic, and a shooter in Felipe Patino, who came from junior college. So you still got some openings. If you get Danger and Haggerty in on this deal, that's a top 15, 20 team, I think. I think for sure.
I would say so.
Pretty impressive. Penny has done it again. It looks like he's pulling a rabbit out of his hat. But now, look, the Haggerty thing is still yet to be played out. We know he wants $4 million. Maybe there's another school out there. Although most schools have spent their money. They've already gone in the portal, and they've spent a lot of money. So we'll see if he can command what Toppin did at Texas Tech to retain JT. And then the Danger thing, he wants to be here in the worst way. But you know what? So did DeAndre Williams. And the NCAA said no. Now, there is a new wrinkle in the way they're approaching this, and there is a better chance than many thought possible to begin with that Danger would get a waiver and get another year from the NCAA. But that is still yet to be decided. But if you get those two with these guys, we could be having a whole lot of fun. I'm having fun right here in the Family Leisure Studios, where, of course, family and fun come together. And it's pool time. We've been talking about this for a bit now. It is time to book your pool installation. And, if you buy one right now, because this is called It's Pool Time, 24-foot pool starting at $19.99 that includes installation. Anytime during this deal you get something else that's not included in that, and you just say, you heard this on Sports 56. Instantly free installation. You can't beat that. Free installation. And once you put your order in, you get some priority on the install list because it's starting to back up. So I'd get in now. I'd get to I-40 and Wooden Road. Liners start at under $300. Those pools at under $2,000. Oh, my goodness. All pool accessories like chemicals are up to 20% off. Just head on over to I-40 and Wooden Road. See our friends at Family Leisure. We take a quick break. We'll head to Chicago. We got a lot of NBA to talk about. All the series. Crazy refereeing in the Knicks-Pistons series last night. Questionable calls on both sides. We'll get the scoop from our agent from Priority Sports in the Windy City. That's Andy Schiffman, and he comes your way in just a minute.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Tiger Nation, spring football is here. Get your first look at Memphis football at the annual spring game Saturday, April 26th. Kickoff is set for 3 o'clock at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Admission and parking is free. It's Family Fun Day featuring Pouncer's Pals, food trucks, prizes, and autographs. Tiger Bookstore will be there with a Memphis Athletics equipment sale. Be there, be loud, and go Tigers go. For more information, visit gotigersgo.com.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its community and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
It's the Freedom of Choice pricing program, Ram Truck Month and Jeep Celebration all in one at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. 2025 Compass Latitude 4x4, $49.69 off MSRP at $24,796 with Jeep Select Terrain System. Go from snow, sand, and mud. 2024 Dodge Hornet RT all-wheel drive, $12,673 off, or $397 a month with a turbocharged 2.0-liter engine standard. One of the most powerful SUVs in its class, or 0% for 72 months is available. 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab with best-in-class payload capacity, now $13,335 off MSRP, or 1.9 for 72 is available. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
6704, MSRP 29765, Hornet R3A08 452, MSRP 44620, Ram SN673 402, MSRP 5170, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title license, see dealer for complete details, offer valid to end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is the CMSA Church downtown Memphis.
Of everything that is alive.
Man, I got so busy with Tigers and Grizzlies, I forgot to mention the NFL draft, which, by the way, I was glued to, going back and forth and everything else. And Cam Ward, number one, no big surprise. So the Titans have, hopefully, their quarterback. I'll believe it when I say I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I thought he was the best. And then, of course, plenty of surprises along the way. The Jaguars moving up to get the second pick, and that's the two-way guy, Travis Hunter, if he'll really play both ways. Shedeur Sanders. I thought for sure when the Giants, what was that, the 26th pick?
25th.
25th pick. The Giants make a trade to move up. You know they need a quarterback. And everybody goes, okay, now it's finally going to be Shedeur Sanders. Instead of being in the top 10, he's moving to 25, but at least he's going to get in the first round because all of the ESPN commentators were ripping the NFL GMs for not getting Shedeur Sanders, ripping him. And then all of a sudden, the commissioner says, with the 25th pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the New York Football Giants take Jackson Dart. When he said, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I think Dart's the better player, to be honest with you. I really do. And he did it against really good competition. Now, it was pointed out by those that are non-believers in Dart or believers in Sanders and trying to make a case that the two big games that Ole Miss did not play well in, that Dart did not play well in. And, that's unfortunate. But a lot of them, whatever it is, they want to make their projections look better. And I think that was part of the reason for the criticism of the pick of Jackson Dart. Now, Shedeur Sanders will definitely go in the second round, but already his lack of, I think, him and his dad maybe, of understanding the whole process that you have to go through to be in the draft and to be thought of. And PR-wise, he was a nightmare. We'll see if he can really play, because some of that is not just that it was a nightmare. A lot of it is criticism that he's a short passer, that he didn't show great arm strength, that we don't know about his decisions. And frankly, he's 13-12 in his collegiate career. But you know what? Quarterbacks get too much credit and too much blame. You got to have people around you. Football's the ultimate team sport. But 13-12. So anyway, we'll see where he goes today. I'm pretty sure he's going to go in the second round. I'd forgotten all about that. I want to make sure we get in. Andy Schiffman, thank you for your patience. We truly appreciate you standing by. And I don't know if you watched any of that Grizz game last night, but heartbreak in Memphis. I mean, that was hard to watch last night. Good morning.
Morning, Dave. It was. I watched the whole game. One of my colleagues who represents Cam Spencer and then Brandon Carlson on the Thunder, he was at the game, his first time in Memphis, and I was texting with him throughout the first half, and he said this atmosphere is one of the most electric in the NBA, and then just completely took a 180 in that, end of the third going into the fourth quarter. Unbelievable. I just don't know how you come back. I was talking to one of my other clients this morning. We were catching up on some of the games, and I said, as a player, how do you go into game 4 trying to motivate yourself after blowing a 29-point lead at home, thinking, all right, we can just get this one game. We can win one game at a time and kind of get back into this series. He said you can't, especially without Ja. See what happens with that injury. It looked awful.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. I mean, I think they're just defeated now, morally, mentally, however you want to say it. Unbelievable. And kudos to the Thunder. This is what makes them the best team in the NBA. And if you're a Grizzlies fan, obviously I think that you put your Grizzlies team on a pedestal and you think they can compete with the best of the best. And I think that here and there on a good day, that's absolutely correct. But you look at how deep the Thunder are. You look at, it wasn't even all Shea Gilgeous, right? It was Chet having the monster second half.
And
it was Caruso,
I was going to
who
say,
was everywhere.
Alex Caruso, he's unbelievable to me.
He is a defensive pest.
The Grizzlies had 16 turnovers, and in the playoffs, they allow you to be physical, and Alex Caruso loves that. I would say he forced at least half of those turnovers. He was absolutely amazing. He and Holmgren, I think you nailed it. They were the two key players in that second half last night. Why did the Bulls give up Alex Caruso?
Look, that's what everyone was talking about, right? They didn't get a pick in return for Caruso. They got Josh Giddey. And I will say that, having watched the Bulls all year, Giddey had an arguably better season this year than Caruso did with the Thunder. And now, obviously, Caruso is not the playmaking, perimeter shooting point guard that Giddey is, who is got great size, he can shoot the ball, is going to score more. But when you look at what Caruso brings to the table, he fits that Thunder team so well, right? They don't need a guy to come in and put up 20 points a game at that spot. That's why they have SGA. They have other players at each position that can produce. But this is why you have Alex Caruso. So I think, getting back to that trade, right, I wouldn't fault the Bulls as much now because Giddey has turned out to be very good for them. I think at that time it was a bit of a lopsided trade. But last night you were just reminded how good how much of a difference maker Alex Caruso can be for the Thunder.
That's right, because we never think about the other side of the floor. being as important as the offensive side. And Caruso made the difference, I think, in that game, just harassing the two primary ball handlers, Pippen and Bain, into 10 turnovers, 5 apiece. That was, to me, the difference in the game. Now, with all that said, I think the Grizzlies did prove last night they could compete with OKC, because there's no doubt in my mind that if Ja Morant does not get hurt in that game, the Grizzlies are going to win that game. Now, they're not going to win the series, but they're going to win that game last night.
Yeah, I agree. And again, you were up almost 30, right? I don't think you would have won the game by that much, but I do agree. I think they would have won. I think they still would have lost game 4, even with Ja. I think the Thunder are just too good. They would have made adjustments. If you're the Grizzlies, you had all sorts of adrenaline going in your favor going into the game last night. But I don't know. I'm not hopeful for the Grizzlies to be competitive in this series, and that raises the question, what off-season decisions do they have to make this summer? And we've talked about it a lot. And again, going back to this, right? I'm not going to say, okay, well, they're definitely going to trade Ja, but I think that the notion is more realistic today than it was 1 and 2 seasons ago. I would not rule it out and look at trading Ja.
Here's a good question. For the Grizzlies, Robert Parra really needs this question directed at him, maybe Zach Kleiman too. What is success? Is success a team that's going to win 45 to 50 games, that is going to be competitive in the Western Conference, that is going to make the playoffs, that might win around in the playoffs, but is not going to win a championship? Mm-hmm. Is that success, or is it you want to win an NBA championship? That's what you got to ask yourself when you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with these big three. I don't think you can trade Ja, frankly. One, the history of injury now is real. It's almost like Zion. And two, he sells tickets and he sells merchandise, and that's why he just got a 3rd signature shoe. I don't think you can trade Ja. Now, the guy I think you can trade, and I love him, so I'm not saying one way or another, but he's not had a great year. He tends to turn the ball over in clutch time, and he had 5 turnovers last night, and that's Desmond Bain.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that Desmond is a number 2/3 option on this team. I think on a very good team, he's more of like a 4th option. He can be like an Eric Gordon in his prime. I think that I agree with you on Ja, but again, it goes back to that question. It's a great question. Do you prioritize the attention and the revenue that Ja brings in, understanding that for as good as he is, he's been in the league now for a while. He's yet to prove he can take a team to a championship level. And that's not a knock on him. I mean, you can be an extremely great player in this league and never reach that pinnacle. But again, like if you're trying to put together a championship team, what do? You're probably not going to trade Jaren Jackson. It's going to be difficult to move him. I think that I was talking about this with someone. I'm not saying the Grizzlies would do this, but I think on paper it could be interesting if you are the Grizzlies. And look at where Denver is right now. They're struggling. They're not going to win this series against the Clippers, in my opinion.
No, they're not.
They're going to have to make some moves. You're not trading Jokic. You think about how effective Ja could be paired alongside Jokic in Denver. You're probably, if you're Denver, you're probably your first guy to move is actually our client, Michael Porter Jr. And then would you potentially look at moving Jamal Murray and MPJ, Michael Porter, in either directly to Memphis, or there'd have to be another team involved or another piece involved because of all the salary matching, with Ja going to Denver and the Grizzlies getting one of Porter. It wouldn't be just Porter, Jamal Murray and another player some way, shape, or form. That would be interesting to me. I'm not saying they would do it, but it would be something I would maybe look at. If some sort of form of that. There'd have to be some other pieces involved. But kind of going back to Denver, like they're going to have to do something. And I think that an athletic, playmaking, electric guard like Ja fits what they need so well. You can't really hang your hat on Russell Westbrook at this point in his career.
No.
Jamal Murray's great, but again, like you're talking about these two teams that have
those two pieces would be pretty good for the Grizzlies right there.
It would. I mean, I think if you're a Grizzlies fan, though, no matter what you get for Ja, I think that the average Grizzlies fan would be upset. Like, how could you trade Ja?
Well,
but I think
let me ask you this, and I don't really know the answer because there's plenty of people that have tired of the petulant child kind of antics that we've seen. I don't think this would be. Now, look, it would be an unpopular move. I'm not saying it wouldn't, and I don't think you should make the move, honestly. But I don't think it would be Luka Doncic like, where they would be yelling "Fire Zach" like they are with Nico Harrison.
Correct. I don't think so either. But it's like, well, what if you're a Grizzlies fan? What do you want? Are you just going to be content, as you said, with all right, let's get to the playoffs, and maybe in a healthy year we're going to compete and maybe win a first round series. But again, where do you go? Because here's the other part of this equation, as you know, right? You see this all the time in the league. At some point, when you have these all-star high-level players in Triple J, Ja, and you kind of the next tier down is Desmond Bain, right? If you try and retain that core and you're just spending money hand over fist and you're not really making any off-season moves to get better because you're handcuffed by the apron rules. This year, they don't have a first-round pick. They're very unlikely to acquire a first-round pick, as I see it. You got 2 second-round picks that are going to be two-way players or guys that they're just going to draft and stash, or maybe they just trade out of the draft altogether. So how do you get better? So if you're not active in the offseason and you're doing everything you can to maintain this core, at some point, if you're not evolving as a team, these guys are going to say, hey, trade me. And you don't want that to happen. That's a bit of a PR nightmare for a team, and it gets ugly. So if I'm Zach, I have to be proactive and think, how am I going to manage this expensive payroll while trying to maintain some level of competitiveness in this league? And it's a really tough question.
And you look in your division, Houston's young, OKC is young, and OKC is not going to change much. How good is OKC? I mean, how many teams win 68 games? They won by the biggest margin in the history of the NBA, even bigger margins than Michael Jordan's Bulls teams. This team, I think we really need to give them a whole bunch of credit. Now, it's all going to come down to, can they do this in the playoffs? I don't see why they couldn't. I think they're going to win the NBA title, personally.
And here's the other thing with OKC, to your point. They got Kenrich Williams, who's a peripheral player there, 30 years old. You got Caruso, who's 31. Besides that, everyone else is age 26 or younger. So you think about how much of a formidable force they could be for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Because there are players in the NBA that really are in their prime, ages 29 to 31. And then maybe, depending on injury history, et cetera, they start to slow down. Maybe. Obviously, there are anomalies like you see in LeBron. We've had a lot of guys be playing at an extremely high level, even into their 32, 33 years old. So they're in a great spot. And if they're winning, guys are going to be happy. And they're winning.
How much are they paying Caruso? I know they're paying SGA big money and Holmgren big money.
Caruso signed a massive extension. I'll tell you right now, he signed a massive extension last season. Right after the trade, they extended him, and it's an average salary of about a little over $20 million.
I think in today's NBA, that's a deal.
4 years, a little over $80 million.
That's a deal.
For what you at the time, it's like, wow, it's overpaying for Caruso, a guy that gives you really relatively limited offense. Look at last night, as we already talked about. He was the driving force behind that comeback.
All right, last question for you. It's an officiating question. 2 crazy calls at the end, one for each team, with the Knicks-Pistons series, which is, I think, the most entertaining so far. One, I've never seen a call where if your momentum is taking you back court, it's allowed. There's no question in my mind. Brunson went back court. It should have been Pistons ball. And then they gave, not with much time, 0.5 left, but they gave Detroit a chance to literally win the game after Brunson actually missed a free throw on purpose, which was the smart play to make, the coach calling for that. and the buzzer going off, that's the home team buzzer that goes off inadvertently,
Yeah.
and they gave them the ball with a chance to win the game. Those were two crazy calls, and now the Knicks are up 2-1. What did you think of the officiating in that series?
It was a crazy game. I think the officiating was on point. I don't think they did anything wrong. I watched the replay several times of that play you were talking about with Brunson, where all the fans thought he was going backcourt. If you watch it closely, he didn't catch it in the front court. As you said, his momentum had him going into the backcourt. He had 1 foot already crossing into the backcourt before he caught the ball. So he didn't actually catch it in the front court. But again, to the naked eye, and especially if you're in Detroit as a Pistons fan, you're going to be very frustrated at that call, just assuming it should have been backcourt. I think that the refs did everything they could to get these calls right. Obviously, there was a lot of stoppages of play towards the very end of the game, to your point. The announcer said the same thing. How do you, if you're J.D. Bickerstaff, I guess I understand to an extent having Jalen Duren throw that ball in the backcourt because of his size, being able to see over a defender.
Right, and they put a big man on the ball, so he had to have a big guy.
But like, he just throws it away. Like, how do you not get a relatively good pass going to the basket? How do you not practice that? Maybe you do.
I don't know.
But that was a fumble.
That was crazy. But that's going to be, I think, the series to watch.
This is like an old school Knicks Pistons. It's great.
Well, Indy and Milwaukee hate each other too, so that's like an old 80s deal.
Yep.
These are fun. That's why we love the NBA playoffs, and we'll be talking some second round games when we speak next Friday. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
You got it. That's our man, Andy Schiffman, on the NBA. He's brought to you by Sheldon. You're looking for a point guard for selling your home. I got the guy. How about a guy that really works hard, that loves golf but can never play golf because he's too busy working for you, which is why he calls himself Mr. Three Putt. His golf game is so bad he devotes all his time advising clients how to get the most out of their homes when they sell. It's all about this strategic marketing program that involves the 4 Ps: preparation, presentation, proper pricing. He advises you how to prepare your home to overcome objections from today's very tricky buyers. And he researches the market around your home, so he's able to guide you as to what price you should ask. Of course, you got the last word, but he'll show you the different options you may have. So if you or someone you know is thinking of selling, Sheldon always tells you, talk to 2 or 3 people. Make sure he's one of them. No brag, just fact. He gets the job done. Sheldon. That's 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. And, I love this place. It's Grind City Brewing, where you get so many different choices, from the malt liquor to the wonderful poppies to the Gator Patrol. All kinds of wonderful products at a very iconic place. Right on the river, north of downtown. You see the city lights. You see the bridges. You got this beautiful picnic area that's now got a stage where there'll be concerts. It's a taste of Memphis. It's a place of Memphis. It was a dream of a father and son years ago, and now it is just a part of Memphis. It's Grind City Brewing, just north of Memphis. Back in just a minute, we'll talk to Munzie on the Tigers. He comes your way next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Wally Hatchet serves breakfast all day and Southern comfort food for lunch. Hatchet fans love our huge omelet, breakfast Sammys, scrambles, and chicken and waffles. For lunch, check out the Mississippi pot roast, chicken fried steak, grilled meatloaf are one of our best-selling burgers, lipstick on a cow. Pickup, delivery, and catering are also available. Visit WallyHatchets.com to order online. Wally Hatchets is located at 6439 Summer Avenue and open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Wally Hatchets. Count your blessings, not your calories.
Kubota Orange Days are here, so come see them Saturday, April 26th for food, fun, and a lot of Kubota Orange. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and personal RTVs, get your perfect match. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months on select compact tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com. Kubota Orange Days, Saturday, April 26th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. with Sports 56 and Fat Larry's Barbecue from 11 to 1. First choice, Farm and Lawn, number 701, Highway 64 in Queens.
Fill your spring with brilliant style at Sissy's Lawn
ladder trains to one-of-a-kind pieces to exquisite diamonds. You'll find a jewelry unique for a stylish spring while enjoying the Sissy's promise of unmatched quality, service, and selection. Experience Sissy's for yourself when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslowcabin.com. Create the style of your dreams only at Sissy's Low Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games and all the activities on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Welcome back in. We're going to talk to Munzie. Now get this alliteration. Munzie, Miramichi, they belong together. I got to get Jason to go out there and play. I think he plays a little bit of golf. Miramichi. It has recovered from the flood. It is open all 18 holes. They kept the walk through the woods on the back 9 open the whole time. But you'll go out there now and play the front 9, which had 2 or 3 holes underwater. You wouldn't believe it because you can't see it. It is outstanding. It's the most beautiful course. Again, back 9's like taking a walk through the woods with a stream going. There's hills. It's a unique golf course. It's beautiful, and it can be very tough. If you go back 7,000 yards, like the collegiates or the great players who play like in the Bubba Conley, they play out there. Or you can move up like I have now done, and you can have fun with the shorter tee boxes. You've got choice. You got the true golf experience. Great clubhouse, great food, great people. Just go check it out. The best day to go is Thursday. And then Monday, it's now open. Used to be closed on Mondays. Open now on Mondays at Miramichi. Let me go south of the border. Our friend Jason Munz joins us now. He's always busy. So this week, the Tigers got a giant and a mighty might all in 2 days. Penny's putting together a team, Jason. Good morning.
Good morning, Waldo. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Yeah, no, Penny's working. He's got 7 now. He's got 7 Division I transfer commitments. The most recent being Doug McDaniel. He's got himself a point guard, a pretty good one, who played last season at Kansas State and 2 seasons before that at Michigan. I got a chance to talk to Doug actually earlier this week, and we talked about his decision to come here and his plans for when he gets here. But yeah, he's the most recent one in the boat. Actually, about, an hour ago, Memphis formally announced that it has signed Daniel Vieira Tuck at long last. He is joining the Tigers.
That's the kid from Overtime Elite whose mother is a Portuguese native, and he played for some national team in Portugal last year, right?
He did. He spent a year playing in Portugal and played in the FIBA International tournament, big FIBA International tournament a while back, and had quite a bit of success. He's a 6'4" guard. He's originally from Texas. His dad was a coach, so the coach's kid coming, going to be on the roster next year, along with Ashton Hardaway, who is the coach's kid. They announced his official signing about an hour ago, and if you remember, Daniel Vieira Tuck is the guy who committed to Memphis way back in June of 2024, almost a year ago.
I remember. Mm-hmm.
His plan was to be on this past year's roster, but his dad told me at the time last year that there were some transcript problems that got messed up when he was at an online school or a prep school or something like that. I wrote a story about it at the time, but it would have prevented him from being a qualifier, so they went the Overtime Elite route, and now he is he's officially signed.
I know he's athletic. Is he a combo guard? How would you describe him?
Yeah, I think that's probably what he has grown up doing is mostly combo guard. But yeah, he's super athletic. I think he can shoot it pretty well. He did not have the best numbers in his time most recently with Overtime Elite. He didn't play very much, less than 10 minutes a game, couple points, about a rebound and a half. But you go back and you look at everywhere else he's been, the international competition that he played against for a time, and then before that he was in various high schools and prep schools where he had success. So the talent is there, I think. It's just a matter of, how is it going to translate?
I read your story on Doug McDaniel, which is good. I mean, he scored a lot when he was at Michigan, not so much last year at K-State. He didn't shoot well last year. And then you got this kid, the 7'1" center, 7'1", folks, who was a 5-star McDonald's All-American, started at Kentucky. Not so flashy there. Went to Ohio State, another huge school. Did not work out so well there. Of the two big signings, the big guy, the little guy, which one do you like the best?
I mean, based on their track records, I think Doug McDaniel is probably the more sure bet. Aaron Bradshaw, as you mentioned, he started at Kentucky. John Calipari's last year there. It didn't go very well. Partially, I mean, he got hurt. He missed most of the preseason coming out of high school going into Kentucky. He missed most of the preseason with an injury, and some people say that he was slow to come back from that, and that might have affected him. And then last year, there was a domestic incident. There were no charges. It was never removed from the team permanently, but he did have to sit out 5 games as that was being, sorted out, that domestic incident that he was involved in, allegedly, I guess. Some people might say that had something to do with his, or it could have had something to do with his, numbers not being super spectacular at Ohio State last year. We'll see if a step down in competition, he's coming from the SEC and the Big Ten. If a step down, if coming to the AAC helps him realize his potential, if Penny Hardaway helps him realize his potential, we'll see. But we're going to have to see it first to believe it, because a 7'1" guy who is playing mostly the 5, only averaging 2.7 rebounds and 0.7 blocks per game is not. It doesn't.
It's surprising.
It's a little bit of an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah,
so I'm not saying Dane Danger had some modest numbers at Illinois before coming to Memphis and just blowing up. So we'll see. It's been done before, but until we see it, we can't count on it.
Well, between Penny and Mike Davis, they really developed Dane Danger, and I would hope that would be the case with this. So they get Vieira Tuck. What about JC transfer Felipe Patino, who's a shooter?
They have not announced his signing yet. I have not been given any reason to believe they won't. I've been keeping in touch with him regularly, and every time I talk to him, he says he's coming. So until further notice, he will be added to the roster eventually.
All right, so let's just say he's in, and we know Dante Harris didn't go in the portal, so he's going to be in the mix for point guard. Now you got 2 solid point guards. That's, if I do my math correctly, 7 transfers. 3 guys is 10. We don't know about Danger and Haggerty. We don't know if there will be 13 scholarships or 15, depending on when this house settlement is. And I think there's some flexibility, because I don't know. Is Ashton Hardaway going to be on dad, or is he going to be a scholarship player?
Well, I think right now the plan is for him to be on scholarship. That's what he was as a true freshman when he was here. And I think unless there is something that changes, I think the plan right now is for him to be on scholarship. If the season began tomorrow and we weren't counting Dane Danger and PJ Haggerty, then Memphis has 3 open scholarships as we sit here right now. And if the House settlement goes through and they bump up the roster, the allowable number of scholarships to 15, well, then they'd have 5 open scholarships. And they do, like, Penny still has pieces to add. He's still actively recruiting. I think the primary
he needs
goal
bigs. He needs bigs and wings.
He does, but I think right now the priority is wings. And so, yeah, wings / forwards. I think that is where they're going to go next.
What do you think the odds are of Danger getting that waiver? You were a little higher last week than you were originally. And what about Haggerty? Because if they sign those two, you got a top 15 class.
I think if Pete Haggerty and Dane Danger come back and you add them to what they already have, I would argue that it may even be a top 10 class. I mean, you're talking about 2 first-team all-conference guys, 1 All-American. But it is still a long shot. Even though I feel slightly better on Danger's situation than I did 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, it's still pretty low. Based on what I'm hearing, it's still a very long shot. Now, it's not completely, there are some things that people have told me that make me think that it's not impossible, that it's not a lost cause. But you certainly don't want to, put any money down on it. And then Haggerty, I don't know. It's like there's just so much involved, so much swirling around with his situation. I don't think anybody knows truly what's going to happen. I mean, I know what's probably in his best interest, and that would, given the circumstances, he's telling teams that he wants at least $4 million and he wants to play point guard to get it. It doesn't seem like there's going to be that many programs who are willing to give him that.
I think the fact that you signed Doug McDaniel tells you he's not going to be the point guard here either. So, and I don't know. I mean, he was a second-team All-American, first team in some places, as a shooting guard, not a point guard. And he had 100 turnovers last year. So I don't quite understand that. All right, in 30 seconds, because we're out of time as we always get to, who do you think is the next target? Who will we see on campus?
Well, they had Jacob Darr, a wing from Rice. They had him in on a visit. They had Chris Parker, who's like a big 6'9" wing-type guard guy. He was on campus last week. I do think there's a guy who played at Brown. His name is Nana Owusu Anane, and he was really good 2 years ago. He missed last year with an injury. He's somebody I would keep an eye on. USC upstate guard / wing. His name is Mr. Dean. He's another name that I would keep an eye on as well.
Well, we could have Sincere and Mr. That'd be good. I like that.
I know.
Very good.
I know. It'd be great.
As always, I appreciate you. We'll talk next Friday. Maybe we'll have more of a team together by then.
All right. Appreciate it, Will.
Thank you. That's Jason Munz, commercial appeal beat writer of the Tigers, brought to you by Southern Security. Need cash? You can refinance your auto loan with Southern Security and have no payment for 60 days. Southern Security will finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle. That's for up to 72 months. To find out how you can put more cash in your pocket, call our member service team. That's 901-452-7900. I promise you can talk to a person, or you can go to the website, southernsecurity.org. Southern Security, proud supporter of U of M athletics and 901 women. Southern Security, federally insured by NCUA and your home team credit union, Southern Security. We got medals and all kinds of stuff we will do on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Johnny Radio comes your way in just a minute.